both of them because he's like, you guys fucking annoyed me when I was young. And he killed Robbie on the grounds of, yeah, you're in my way. I don't want you in my way anymore. And he was kind of fated to kill Robbie anyway. And he also kept the knowledge that he was Dipper in the future. He kept it between him, Dipper, and Mabel. So Wendy didn't know that Dipper just murdered her boyfriend, who was also in this story a dick. You see, I have a major hate for Robbie, if you haven't figured it out yet, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people share that that as well. So that's just a bit about Proteus. Another villain that I created that has ties to Dipper is Mr. No. Mr. No. Mr. No is a very interesting villain. What he is this huge, shadowy figure. He's about almost 6. He's good 6'7", 6'7", and he wears all these dark clothing. He's got a cane. His face is very covered, and he pretty much wears all black trench coat, and he kind of walks in and out of shadows, and he's this very dark and sinister character. And what he is, he's not really human, because Dipper and everyone else around it, other people start to discover this guy can't die. He gets run over by a truck, he gets thrown off a building, and he keeps coming. And then it's finally discovered that what Mr. No is Dipper, all of Dipper's anxiety, negative energy, all poured into it's a physical manifestation of Dipper's anxiety, anger, fears, all of it. And what he set out to do is basically be just all around evil. Be kind of like that. You kind of be like Mr. Hyde, without the restriction of 2 bodies. He's pretty much living out all the stuff Dipper wanted to do, and he is a bastard. Once again, every story I gotta have some Robbie abuse. Makes me feel better. And at one point he takes his cane and starts he kidnaps Robbie, beats him to death with a cane, and then proceeds to skin him and hang him over in the town square of Gravity Falls, saying, it's like, hello, my name's Mr. No, and this is my calling card. So that was pretty much him in a nutshell. How he was defeated when Dipper decided, you can't live very long without me now, can you? He pretty much said, because he started to notice, no matter how many times he got knocked around, he could still keep coming. But then Dipper was noticing that Mr. No was starting to, he wasn't even, he was staggering a bit. He was feeling a little low. His voice was becoming a little more softer and a little more haggard, like he was physically wearing down despite all the damage he was taking. And Dipper then realized, this guy needs me. We need to be one again. He can't live without me. He is a part of me. So and he pretty much approaches Mr. No and says, you need to come back to me. You and I need to be united, or you're gonna die. And the other thing throughout this story was that Dipper was weakening. He was starting to feel sick, and his body was faltering as well. He realized, there was a yin and yang thing going on. Him and Mr. No needed to unite again. So Mr. No didn't want to at first, but then he realized, self-preservation comes first. So he merged with Dipper once again. He became part of Dipper's subconscious again. But he said he'd have a little... But however, in exchange for, uniting, there had to be a deal. There had to be, Dipper had to be a little more aggressive. And keep in mind, this was a story I wrote before... This is pretty much the story I wrote that kind of made Dipper the little more darker version that I like writing. Kind of like this, like I said, the Seventh Doctor kind of dark. And with it, I'd have... this is kind of the start, because Mr. No pretty much said, you need to be a little more assertive, I need to have a little more control. you can't just keep locking me away and saying you're the good guy. Because that's the thing. Dipper is nice beyond comparison. He is so nice. So I figured that all that anger, depression, and loneliness that he has, it's building under there. It's building under his, exterior. And that's what it physically manifests itself as Mr. No. Those emotions that he kept away were so powerful that they took a life of their own. But inevitably, Dipper and Mr. No merged back again. But however, Mr. No would have a little more, say in a few matters, so to speak. So he wasn't really stopped. He was united once again. So that's just a little bit about Mr. No. Among other things, there was a few... What other one? Trying to think, because I made so many. The Skinwalker. There's a good one. The Skinwalker. Now, the Skinwalker was a villain that I never really gave a identity to. He was kind of like this monster in the shadows kind of person. If you don't know what a Skinwalker is kind of like a Native American version of a werewolf. However, unlike just turning into a wolf, they could assume other forms. A bear, an owl, basically every animal in the North Americans. And it was a shapeshifter. He was pretty much a shapeshifter of all North American animals. And the Skinwalker was a rogue medicine man, so to speak. And the reason the character he has ties to is Wendy. Now, in my stories, I made Wendy half Native American. That her mother was a Native American, and she was the daughter of a Indian shaman. Her mother was the daughter of an Indian shaman, and she was a practicing shaman, and she was also believed to be a skinwalker. But however, her mother passed away under a mysterious illness, and Wendy tried to learn to be a shaman as well, try to get back to her Indian roots, and, came across a creature that, she believed to be a skinwalker, and she told Dipper and Mabel about it, because, weird stuff has happened to them, so they go to investigate, and all the points kind of lead to, because here's the main thing, she kind of believes that it's her mother come back, she believes that it's her mother resurrected. But, however, when she starts finding out that there's been killings, and, not just of, sheep animals, but there's also been, a few people brutally murdered around the town, she starts believing, would my mother actually do this? Because she kind of bared some hate towards the founders of some of the other, other esteemed members of Gravity Falls, because they were part of a group that was kind of really bent on driving her people from her, from her reservation, and they murdered Wendy's grandparents on her mother's side. Her mother believed that her grandmother was murdered by these people. Excuse me. And these people that have been killed are being killed by, by an animal, a skinwalker that Wendy believes is a skinwalker, and she believes it's her mother coming back, as a spirit of vengeance, but she doesn't want to believe that her mother would be this violent. She was so pessimist, and she loved life and nature. But then things kind of get interesting when she discovers that her mother's burial, where her mother was buried, the casket's gone. The casket's open. The grave has been dug up. Casket's gone, and all she saw were these paw prints running away from the grave. So she kind of it left that ambiguous to the Skinwalker. So that was a little ambiguous here and there. And the other thing that actually no, that was pretty much it. In regards to a few other characters, what else? The Windigo. The Windigo was, as most of you guys know, another Native American legend of a creature who is born when another man eats a human being. An act of cannibalism, and a wild spirit takes hold of them and turns them into the Windigo. This again was another Wendy story of her trying to come in contact with her Native American roots. She encounters the Windigo while going on a spirit walk. She's trying to, get in contact with her mother's spirit, as well as, the spirit of her ancestors. She wants to know, because her mother died at a very young age, and she wants to get more in contact with, commune with her mother's side. She wants to embrace her Native American side. So she goes along with her grandfather, who, like I said, is a shaman, and they continue a spirit walk. This is how they kind of encounter the Windigo, who the Windigo, by the way, the Windigo in question is Wendy's great uncle. Her grandfather's brother devoured their younger brother when they were lost on a hiking trip, and his middle brother ate the younger brother in order to survive after they got lost in the woods, and he got possessed by the spirit of the Windigo. So the resolution to that one was that Wendy had to put down her great uncle, who had pretty much become a savage, mindless monster, and she pretty much stopped him with an arrow that her grandfather created, a sacred arrow that her grandfather created, and she shot it in the heart and put her great uncle's spirit that she never knew to finally rest, and the Windigo spirit separated from him. Another villain I created was called the Piper. The Piper was he was an ordinary person, but he had a magical flute that could hypnotize children, and he sold them off to child slavery. He was a slave trader, and this guy he affected children, even Dipper and Mabel, and even Seuss and Wendy. Since they all had like a very childlike personality to them as well. This guy was more of a Stan villain. He was an enemy for Stan. Stan, when he found out that Seuss and his not only his employees and his nephews are gone, he sets out by himself to go look for the Piper, who's selling them off to multiple people. He's selling them off to drug dealers, sex slaves, all kinds of nasty people. He attempts to do that, but Stan, being the arrogant asshole that he is, takes his cane and cracks it over the Piper's head, breaks the pipe, breaks the flute he has, the magical flute he has, and breaks the hold on everyone and gets everyone out of there. Meanwhile, he beats the guy, and he hit the guy so hard in the head with his cane. Stan hit the guy so hard with his cane, he knocked him into a rock and pretty much mentally disabled him. He successfully, if not accidentally, lobotomized the guy. So that was just a brief one about the Piper. Another one, and this is pretty much the final one, is the Boogie Man. Yes, the Boogie Man. But this guy was more of a Seuss enemy. He was this incarnation of the Boogie Man that I made. What he is this guy's been hounding Seuss for years. He has been trying to, he's been scaring him since he was a kid, and the story pretty much in a nutshell was Seuss coming to, grips that he has to face his fear head on, and that was the story of the Boogie Man, that he had to overcome that, and that one was kind of brief. But anyway, guys, that's just, that's the whole lot right there. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, eventually later on down the road I'll do the Avatar villains and maybe the other original characters I created for that universe. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, I'm out.